All right, guys, welcome back to Beautiful Mind today. If you're new here, I'm Roland Attenborough. I'm the leading Gann scientific and analytical researcher, and I'd like to take this time to thank you very much for having me as your guest. We're talking about the moon, and we're going to be talking about the tunnel through the air, and Mr. Gann laid out this book is 400 pages, or 418, which is a 20 times 20 square, and every page represents either a day, week, month, and a year on cycles. Right now the moon is coming around, and we're going to be talking about this. In 1913, Robert suffered a severe illness in the spring, and for a few months his life was despaired of, but he quickly recovered. Soon after his recovery, his father took him on a fishing trip to Spirit Lake. The old darky of slavery days went along, and while he was putting worms on Robert's hook, he told the story about this lake and why it was named Spirit Lake. The old darky said that the spirit of a beautiful lady walked on the waters of the lake at night, and that was why they called it Spirit Lake. Long, long years ago, the daughter of a wealthy planter fell in love with a poor but honest boy. After many years of courtship in which they spent many moonlight nights rowing in the beautiful lake, the time came when they felt that they could no longer be separated. The young man pleaded with her father to consent to their marriage, but he stubbornly refused and threatened to kill the young man if he ever called at his home again. They then planned to elope one night, and as her sweetheart was placing a ladder under the window and helping her to get down, her father shot and killed her lover. When they found that he was dead, she ran to the lake and drowned herself. They searched for days for her body, and one moonlight night they saw her walking on the water. They rowed out on the lake and found her floating on the water. He said that the fish would always bite better at full moon, but the darkies were afraid to fish there because the spirit of this beautiful young lady walked on the water. Bobby came home very much interested and excited and told his mother all about the fish they caught at Spirit Lake and about the story old Moses told him about the spirit walking on the water. He told his mother that the Sunday school teacher had read in the Bible where Christ walked on the water, and he wanted her to explain how this could happen. She told him that all the things happened in the days of miracles, which had passed and no longer happened in these days. Bobby had a great desire to walk or ride upon the water and was enthusiastic about bicycles, 2 cycles, right? 720. He told his mother that he intended to build a bicycle someday, that he could ride on the water. Okay, so from this story here, and from the excerpts in this book, it explains to me that around the full moons, we get what's called a lunatic fringe, and people's emotions tend to be heightened, and the animal's awareness of the natural and reoccurring cycles is also very prevalent. So in markets, we can see that the moon has an effect on the energy of the market, because the people are affected by this great big body, which is very powerful. Controls, right? It controls all the water, right? This is what this thing does, right? The moon controls the water, right? Anyways, I thought I'd share that with you because we're coming up now on an energy point here, which I wanted to discuss with you, which really, we're getting into a target area where the moon is, and it seems that, just because our forecast is still intact and happening, no high-fiving, guys, come on. We're just watching for a reactionary to happen here because we know the biting is good. So it could continue on for a few days after and then subside, and we may have this reaction again where we start to look for, the possibility of the next moon low, not suggesting that it may occur down here, but the likelihood of, a great big pullback, we could suffer something like that. And the first thing that would show would be a breaking obvious of this trend line and, of course, this bottom here. And a follow through to that would probably signify the beginning. However, like our last cycle, sorry, I might have had that on the way. Like our last cycle, excuse me, we had a continuation beyond the target area. Okay, so be mindful that we can continue on past our target area and still have a fake out. This still doesn't mean we can't break and move right on up and retest this the 73,000 here, and it's probably quite likely that by around this election period here, we're going to get another snapback before it. Obviously, we're going to get something, but by this election, it looks like we will be probably, retesting this old top, at least coming up and banging around in here. We first have to get over top of this 69,000, and if we don't, that would be a sign of weakness. Anyways, guys, peace and love. If you want me to read the rest of this book, it's a scientific document, and if you want me to read it, I'm going to be looking to itemize all the chapters. I've highlighted every single page. Every single item inside here is highlighted, and I go through it all, and we put together the cycles and show you that he's hidden this lovely example of natural and reoccurring phenomena which he has used to calculate the movement of the market. It's really interesting. Anyways, hit me up. Peace and love to you guys. Love to y'all. Peace and love.